Dr. Anthony Fauci testified today at an at times contentious hearing on Capitol Hill, saying he's disturbed about a recent rise in cases in some American states. Well, joining us now is Congressman Joe Kennedy, who took part in that hearing today with Dr. Fauci. Congressman Kennedy, good to see you again. We appreciate you coming on the show.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Dr. Fauci says he is, quote, cautiously optimistic that we are going to get a coronavirus vaccine by the end of this year or early next year. Your reaction to that?
Look, obviously that's great. And I think that's more or less on the timeline that we've heard from the beginning. And let's be clear, he was also clear about the fact that that's a remarkable timeline and a huge feat of human engineering and ingenuity in order to actually to get there. Now, we still have serious questions as to, one, whether we are going to get there, and that timeline matters. Two, after a vaccine is actually found, whether we can manufacture it and distribute it, and how we're going to do that equitably, not just around our country, but around the world.
The president said this weekend that he told health officials to slow down coronavirus testing. He said today he was not joking about that. But Dr. Fauci says the president did not instruct him to slow down testing. What should we make of that?
Liam, I don't know. I have great confidence in Dr. Fauci. I pointed that out in that inconsistency. I think if it comes down to a question of trust, I would go with Dr. Fauci. The fact that the president doubled down on such a statement is unconscionable.
The president tweeted today, and I want to get your reaction to it. He said, quote, "We did a great job on coronavirus, including the very early ban on China, ventilator production and testing, which is by far the most and best in the world. We saved millions of U.S. lives." Your reaction to that?
So I think you should start by talking to some of our colleagues in Europe that have indicated that they are about to put in place a travel ban because the United States has not slowed the spread of the virus, and that they're not going to allow U.S. Travelers from the United States into Europe. I think you can come to Massachusetts and talk to folks from Chelsea to Springfield about how well a job we did, at least initially, on trying to get adequate supplies of testing around the state with 100,000 people that are infected. You can talk to any resident in the over 20 states that are seeing an increase in testing to this day and ask whether they did a great job. Look, I think the number of ways in which the president's statement here is misleading or objectively false is stunning, and also sadly not.
Dr. Fauci at this hearing today says the country is seeing a, quote, disturbing surge of infections in places like Texas, Florida, Arizona, because they reopened too quickly, he says. Massachusetts right now is still trending in the right direction. We're generally going in the right direction. Have we gotten it right here in this state?
I think that the numbers at this point indicate that Massachusetts has gotten a lot of things right. That being said, we got a lot of things wrong too. I mean, I don't think we can look at the Holyoke Soldiers Home and think that we got everything right. I think you can look at Chelsea and think we got everything right, and Brockton and Lawrence and Revere and Springfield and think that we got everything right. You look at the ways in which we know the desperate impact that the virus has had on communities of color. We can't say we got everything right. But I think what you do have in Massachusetts is a respect for science, a willingness to listen to our public health officials, a confidence in our public officials that we're doing the best we can with the information that we have. And if we're wrong, we'll correct it, and to try to come at this again with a dose of humility and integrity. And I think we've seen the numbers, again, trend in the right direction, but I think we have to be really clear where we can't be overly confident.
So a lot of work left to do. Congressman Joe Kennedy, thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Liam, thank you. Appreciate it.